you looking to learn more about your spiritual journey? Are you on a healing journey? Have you tried conventional ways of healing but didn't get the results you desired? If so, this podcast is for you. My name is Reverend Dr. Jackie Cope, and I'm a metaphysical minister, intuitive guide, and teacher. Here at Raven Rabbit, we believe that your ancestors, spiritual guides, and divine self are ready and eager to help you heal and prosper. We approach life, healing, and happiness through a holistic, indigenous spiritual lens to create the lives we want. Join me to radically change your life today. Hello, and welcome to episode 64. You manifested it, so why didn't it stay? I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Jackie Cope. If this is your first time here, welcome into my space. I'm so glad you're here with us. We have deep conversations here. We apply all of the spiritual laws and our spiritual learnings, and we get it to actually work in our lives. And I'm so glad you're here to do this. And if you're just joining back and you're coming back, thank you for being here. Your listens mean everything to me. Building this community with you means everything to me. And I'm just so glad you're here. So, we're on episode 64. And if you've been following me on Instagram or Facebook, you've been seeing that I've been talking about receiving a lot. And if you're not following me on those things, I encourage you to do so because that's where I give out a lot of my information to keep up to date with stuff. And so I've been talking about receiving. And receive was a word I studied a few years ago. There's another spiritual coach I follow where she picks a word of the year, and that's her studies. And so a few years ago, my word was receive, probably like 3 years ago, because the year prior to that, last year, was liberty. And if you listen to my January episode, you know this year I'm studying the word up. So a few years ago, my word was receive. And I just had all this information channeled to me. I did deep study with it. And now I am like ready to share all of that with you all. And it is so potent and beautiful and amazing. So before we dive really deep into the truth about receiving and why your manifestations aren't sticking, let's do a quick invocation. Oh, Creator, thank you for bringing us here together in this beautiful space. This podcast space is just so magical and uplifting, and being here together is just beautiful medicine. Sharing my stories, hearing back from listeners, connecting with one another. This is what it's all about. And I'm so glad that we have that space to do that. We have this space to do that. Thank you for providing us with this space. And I know that the things that we talk about will uplift and encourage and inspire those who are listening. The right listeners are making their way to this podcast and they have landed here. Everything they need to add to their tool belts today is going to be added, and the rest will fall to the side. And so it is. So thank you so much for being here. Welcome back to the Wellness Studio podcast. I want to talk about something really special today because today I woke up to my first review of my new masterclass called Receive. And I was so glad to receive this review of my class Receive. It made me stop for a moment because when you're creating something that's from your soul pull, so your soul pull is like your aligned soul vision, what you've come here to do. When you're creating something from that soul pull, you never really fully know how it's going to land for someone else, where it's going to take you. You just trust with divine timing and divine will, and you just go for it. And I got a review back for this masterclass that I've made, and it is something that I hear quite often around manifestation. And so this review said she took my class. She was my first participant to purchase the class when I had posted it, and she already took it and she loved it. And one of the things she had to say was that she has watched many manifestation videos, she has talked to mentors, she has done the work, but still something wasn't clicking. Okay. And that's why I created this class. I wanted to get into that point of like, well, what's not translating here? I did all of the right things. I'm in the right headspace. I'm in the right intention. I am being consciously aware, yet your manifestation isn't here. Why? What is going on? So there's this manifestation fatigue and exhaustion that happens in the spiritual spaces that nobody really talks about. We have spiritual people who are trying so hard to do everything the right way and the divine way. They're using affirmations, vision boards, they're vibrating high, they're using positive thinking. And then when nothing changes, these people assume, and maybe you've been there too, that the problem is them. So you turn into this self negativity. You start thinking, like, maybe I don't believe enough. Maybe I'm blocked. Maybe I'm doing everything wrong, even though I'm trying to do things the way I've been taught. But what I've seen over and over again in this, it is not that people don't know how to manifest, it's that they don't know how to receive. So sometimes we do manifestation and we get what we want, but maybe for a fleeting moment because we're waiting for it to disappear. So, another part of the same review was she wrote quite a bit. Another part of this review stood out where she said that she would get what she wanted, but was always waiting for the shoe to drop. Have you been there? Yeah, lots of us have. We are like, this is going to go away. It's going to get taken. I'm going to lose it. I'm not worthy of it. So we start thinking of all of these ways and we will it away. And from her review, it's really powerful to be aware of that. It's really powerful to know that, like, hey, yeah, you know what? I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm always waiting for the bad thing around the corner. So a lot of times when you're manifesting, you do manifest the thing that you want. Opportunities come, love comes, money comes, success comes. But internally, there's something going on. And that can be a slew of things. Okay. One of those things could be fear. And you might think, I thought this too, like, I'm not afraid of anything. How could it be fear? How could I be fearful of my success? Like, I want my success. It didn't make sense, but it will when you start doing the work and you start understanding this. And so your nervous system, it never relaxes enough to actually hold the manifestation that you desire. So, receiving is not about attracting something. Receiving is feeling safe enough for it to stay with you. All right. Because receiving is a whole action. You could be presented the opportunity, presented the money, presented the relationship, but you have to feel fully safe enough for that to stay. You have to look inside of your creator field. What have you been creating in your work magnetic field? What's your programming? What's your script? What are you sending out to the world? And that brings me directly to the spiritual law of correspondence. You see this playing out in real time. And I talk about this so much. As within, so without. So, whatever you're putting into your program, into your script, it's playing out in your work field. Life reflects how we relate to ourselves. And I talk so deeply about all of this because if we have deep-seated self-hate, if we have childhood traumas, if we have wounds and we have reflections, and we're playing those out on the inside, we're going to see them playing out in our auroric field around us in our creator field. If I only trust myself halfway, I experience halfway certainty in my life. If I secretly believe things are going to disappear, life will mirror back that instability. Not as a punishment. Universe isn't trying to punish us and say what's good and what's bad, but as correspondence. As within, so without. The universe is constantly saying, I will meet you exactly where you believe yourself to be. So, this is why this class is landing so deeply. What students are realizing in my Receive Masterclass is that nothing is wrong with them. Nothing's wrong with you. You aren't failing at manifestation. You're operating from a place of self protection because what you needed to survive helped you survive whatever it was you were going through. Okay. But then it became a coping mechanism and a form of self protection. And so you built these old survival identities. And you also learned things from self doubt. Okay. But once you understand your survival identities, your coping mechanisms, you address any type of self relationship issues that need to be addressed, you will start to soften. You will stop trying to force your manifestations. Because the more we say, I want, we're saying that we don't have it and we're playing that out. Well, if I want it so bad, I clearly don't have it. And I'm just going to keep seeing that reflected back to me. And once we soften and we see that, you will start allowing. And that's the beginning of receiving. So, receiving is an internal relationship. Receiving is really about your self relationship with things such as self trust, self worth, self respect, and your overall self image. Because you cannot consistently experience externally what you do not allow internally. You'll experience it sometimes. Okay. The universe has to keep balance. So you might experience some pity from the universe. The universe will see you really, really down and be like, oh my goodness, we can't have her this down. Let's balance things back out. So maybe you'll get to experience a little moment of joy, of elation, of happiness. Okay, but it's not consistent. We don't want to live there. Okay. So how you treat yourself internally is what you're going to see externally. And that's why my Receive class feels so life-changing to people because it's really asking them to look on the inside. And I'm not trying to give you another technique for manifestation. There's lots of great manifestation coaches out there. You probably already have a good practice. And we don't need to throw that practice out the door. We just need to do some internal work and work on your receiving capacity. So, if you've ever felt like, oh, I've done everything right, why hasn't it happened yet? I want you to consider this gently. Maybe life isn't withholding it from you. Maybe you're learning how to receive differently. And honestly, watching this first review coming in reminded me why I do this work. Because when understanding replaces that self-blame I'm talking about, healing starts immediately. I used to be the first person to go to self-blame. If things weren't working out, it was completely my fault. I should have known better. I used to play those games all the time, and I get really deep into that with my Return to Love live container. We dive super deep into that. And once I replaced my self blame conversations and I healed, okay, my capacity for receiving expanded exponentially. So I just want to say thank you for being here with me. If you're interested in the Receive Masterclass, it's on ravenrabbit.com underneath Masterclasses. It's a self-paced course. It's 1 hour long video. I am very structured in how I do my courses. So there's a few little modules to the left, just three. One will tell you about the standards of receiving because I like to be very technical how I do my work. We go over standards. We're not being willy-nilly over here. That's not my style. Other coaches, that's great. I love watching them do it. They can just channel so beautifully. But I do things very structured. You will see the standards and you can run with that information. You will have an hour-long video in the next section. And I also have a worksheet that gives you a tool and a practice to further and analyze your receiving capacity. Okay. So there's just so much there. It's an entry level class. So I have 4 levels of classes within my website. And I want to share about what those are. So, first, I have master classes. They're hour-long videos with some other little extra things sprinkled in to just dip your toe in. Okay, these are my affordable classes. So if you're having investment, like, oh, I don't know if I want to invest in Jackie yet, you just want to dip your toe and see what it's like, they're very affordable. Also, I just like to make things accessible to everybody. So if that's your level of investment, perfect. I'm going to try to give you all of your money's worth. Like I pour my heart and soul into these classes. Okay. So they're an overview. They're a foundation. It's really me just teaching you. And in teacher world, we call this a sit and get. You're going to be sitting, you're going to be getting. You're going to take notes. My next level of classes is called the blueprint, and I'm working on developing more. I have a few in there right now. And these courses, uh, they go from a sit and get to more of a make and take. Okay, so you're starting to cultivate your spiritual journey or whatever it is we're studying. Because I have a few Mystic Rise courses in there right now, which is all about a deep study into your metaphysical being. And I have some another thing called Transformative Spaces in there right now, which is about being diversity, equity, inclusion, okay, within your life. You're gonna really analyze yourself. I'm gonna give you homework in those classes, like deep homework. So the investment's a little bit higher, they're a little bit longer, and you got to do some work. Next level of classes is called my mastermind. I am in development of these. I have not opened yet, but I have them. They're in planning and they're so good. I'm so excited. And this is going to be completely different than what you've ever seen with other coaches. So these classes, I will give you structured modules like I always do that you do self-paced, but then you will pay that fee one time, whatever the cost of the course is. But from then on, anytime I have a live that goes with that class, which will be a minimum of 2 times a year, it could be more, you will always get to join that live. Always, for as long as that course exists. And I plan on my courses existing for a very long time. As long as that course is up and it's live, we have at least minimum 2 live meets a year. I also will be keeping them up to date because if I feel that I have information that I just have to share with you that's so important, we'll have more live classes. So let's say you buy a mastermind in 26. If we're having a live in 28, you still get to come. No more fees, you pay. You're just there in that community forever, as long as I keep it there. And when those classes do retire after a few years, you will be fully warned. I will stop selling them so that at least bare minimum, anyone who joins the class will at least get their minimum 2 lives with me. And then I'll put all the lives into the course as well, so you could always access previous recordings. So it is a major deal. And this is what I'm being called to do. And I'm just really excited about it. So it's my masterminds. And the one that's in the works right now is about self-relationship, and it's going to be beautiful. Then from there, my last level of courses is my live containers. Currently, right now, we are in my Return to Love live container, and my group right now is moving through their whole self hate, transmuting it into self love. And that is a 12-week container. Lives with me every other week, self paced modules, a workbook. I make a dedicated playlist. I make meditations. I just go all out. They're my big beautiful courses, okay? And I have not announced it yet, but in a few weeks I will be announcing the next live container that will be going live at the end of March. I have been working on this for so long. I am so excited. It is pretty much for anybody. Not so much like my Return to Love is very niche. It's not for everybody. This next one I'm going to do is for everybody, and I'm so excited. So more information to come on that. I can't wait to see you. If you have any questions about any of my classes, feel free to reach out to me. All my classes are on ravenrabbit.com. You can also learn more about them on Facebook and Instagram mainly. Sometimes I talk about them on TikTok, but get on my website, let me know what you're thinking, and reach out to me. So, have a wonderful rest of the day. As always, take care of yourself, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you for listening. Expand the life, healing, and happiness of others in your field by sharing this episode. You can get more of my content and other helpful tips by following Raven Rabbit LLC on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Be sure to comment on Spotify and answer the episode's question so I can keep creating content you love and desire. Thank you so much.